This is a quick reminder that I'm an Elgato partner, and you can pick up the green screen that I'm using throughout this entire video via my special affiliate link in the description down below. Cheers, guys! Hi guys, MrRoflWaffles here. If I told you that there were clear and distinct links between Der Eisendrache and NUKETOWN releasing as DLC 3 for Black Ops 4 Zombies, would you believe me? Yeah, you'd probably be right not to, but it turns out that there are clear and distinct links between DE and NUKETOWN. Let me explain. You guys need to lock in for the whole video on this one because there's a lot of info to get through. If I cover stuff that you already know, I apologize, but I'm making sure that everyone is up to speed, okay? So, yesterday we got our first DLC 3 teaser for what is presumably going to be NUKETOWN based on previous leaks that have happened, and it came in the form of a tweet from Treyarch and an associated image which showed the Chronorium with Richtfern inside the dark mechanism illustrated on one side of the page, and on the other side some illegible text. Then nearby the book you had a hand cast out as if someone had died, and you had what I thought at the time was a sword or dagger sheath. I was calling it a hilt in my video. I was just getting my words mixed up. I thought it was a sheath. It turns out that I was wrong about it being a sheath. In the time that has passed since I posted that video, I had, for example, Paul Scalabrino say to me, Milo, you can see that it's actually part of a rifle. The back stock part of the rifle is on the left-hand side of the image, and then on the right-hand side, you can actually see what looks like a little bit of the barrel, potentially. Now, in my speculation about it being a sheath, I was saying it would be really cool if Pablo Marinus got involved in this somehow, because it's been so long since we've heard from him. I reckon that this might end up being kind of a post-Revelations-y type thing, because it would fit the crusading kind of outfit to have that sort of stuff, like a sheath for a dagger or a sword or something along those lines, better than it might fit a present-day kind of character. But now that we know that it's a rifle, that perspective has transformed completely. Zeroy has made a fantastic discovery because he's been able to actually identify which weapon they've used in the image here. It's a Baker rifle, or a British Baker rifle. Here's some info about what that rifle's history is, okay? It was a flintlock rifle used by the rifle regiments of the British Army during the Napoleonic Wars. It was the first standard issue British-made rifle accepted by the British Armed Forces. And it was first introduced in 1800 by Ezekiel Baker, a master gunsmith from Whitechapel. The British Army was still issuing the infantry rifle as late as 1838 when production ended, and it also accepted a sword bayonet 24 inches long that you could mount on the rifle itself. There were lots of variants of it, so you would get some that would have different sword bayonet mounting techniques and things like that, but that's a brief idea of what the gun's history was. Now that is a great discovery, right? We now know that there is a British Baker rifle, which would have been used in the 1800s, in this DLC 3 teaser, which doesn't seem to really line up with NUKETOWN, right? But we can keep digging our rabbit hole. It turns out, as Zeroy spotted so damn fantastically, that weapon, that exact gun, is in Der Eisendrache. Everywhere. It's literally all over the place. I have some DE gameplay on screen right now. As you can see, it's on the walls here, it's on some boxes, it's all over the place. And also, with it all over the place in the map, are a bunch of swords. Very similar to the sort of thing that you might end up seeing as a sword-mounted bayonet. So clearly, we have our first element of this presumed link between NUKETOWN and Der Eisen, which is just a bit crazy. What Treyarch is clearly doing here is setting us up with a load of really bizarre questions about the map that, at face value, don't really make sense, but if you dig in, as we're about to do, you can find some really interesting story connections. So, Der Eisen as a castle, as a building, was built in the 1300s. We can actually match the In the Beginning timeline with the Dimension 63 timeline for a couple of events that surround the building of the castle. So I'll read those out for you now. January 15th, 115, 1292, the Great War between humanity and the Apothicons begins. So that war is raging. April 14th, 1294, Sir Pablo Marinus, our boy, I told you that he was relevant here, guys. I freaking told you. So Pablo Marinus is saved from the clutches of Amagua by 4 unknown heroes. They would later become known as Primus. December 31st, 1299, together with the Keepers, Primus defeats the Apothicons, bringing the Great War to an end. So between 1292 and 1299, that Great War was ongoing. And then on January 1st, 1300, before they seemingly disappear from history, Primus instructs the Wolf King to begin building Der Eisendrache. Then 18 years later, on September 19th, 1318, honoring the Wolf King's dying request, his loyal servant Arthur scatters and buries his bones in the grounds of DE, accompanied by the King's Wolf. So there clearly is a bit of a disconnect there. DE was built in the 1300s, and you've got weapons that are British from the 1800s that are in that map, which we visit and do the Easter egg in and kill Dempsey in and all that stuff in the 1900s. So we're doing some serious time hopping here. If we want to be specific, it's on November 6th, 1940, the Group 935 established their facility at DE, and it's all their paraphernalia and junk and stuff that we see when we are exploring the map. Our characters get there in 1945, but a year earlier, something else really important happens. On September 2nd, 1944, Pablo Marinus, our boy, a Mexican spy, is captured by Group 935 at Der Eisendrache. Months later, in May 1945, Pablo writes of visions of a great war, the great war that we just talked about. He describes a great battle against strange demon-like creatures who are trying to devour the earth. In his vision, he sees 4 knights protect him from certain death and makes a note that the knights wore tunics similar to those in Der Eisendrache. We can explore the cipher in which he actually says all that stuff in a minute, but first, I want to refocus us, okay? So clearly, there are distinct parts of history here that are being played with. The 1300s, the Great War, the 1800s, the time when these guns would have actually been used and issued and things like that, and then the 1900s, specifically really the 1940s, where DE comes back into focus. So to try and bring these 3 different times together, I did a little digging, and I found that there are 2 main things that happen in the 1800s that are relevant to both the 1300s and to the 1940s. Number 1, on July 17th, 1898, so admittedly we're at the end of the century, Edward Richtofon's parents die. It's one of the only things that is in the timeline as having happened in the 19th century. Number 2 doesn't actually happen in the 1800s. I know that sounds a bit weird. It happens in 2025, so we have a 4th time to deal with now. On October 13th, 2025, Moon happens. The events of Moon that we're all familiar with. I'm going to read it out verbatim here because it's important to have the correct kind of stack of events in your head. Using the Vril device and the focusing stone, as we know, Richtofen completes his grand scheme and swaps bodies with Samantha on the moon, giving him full control of the zombies and the ether. Maxis contacts the remaining members of Ultimis through the station's electronics and asks them for their help to defeat Richtofen. They agree and launch missiles at the Earth, leaving it fractured and broken. Let's pause the moon entry there and talk about that leaving it fractured and broken line. That verbiage has been used all over Zombies at this point. It's a favorite, I think, of Craig Houston, but the Earth fracturing on October 13th, 2025, the day of Moon, means that further temporal rifts teleport an 1800s American Western town underneath a mining facility in Angola. It's a really happy coincidence that that town is an 1800s town specifically, because there is another link to the 1300s here that makes this even better. Arthur is pulled through from 1318, arriving in the now buried town. So Arthur, the Wolf King's loyal servant, who we see in Der Eisendrache, remember, is teleported on September 20th, 1318, through to this 1800s town, which is teleported because of the fractures in 2025, and it ends up in 2025 Angola. It's resolution 1295. And it doesn't even end there. Seriously, there is an absolute pancake stack of info here, and we're not done. So, October 13th, 2025 isn't only the day that Moon takes place, there's more. Specifically, NUKETOWN Zombies happens. A nuclear bomb explodes outside of NUKETOWN as a result of Broken Arrow's drilling. Oh boy, we are going to come back to them in a second. CIA and CDC operatives arrive to find an undead outbreak already in progress, One of the missiles from Moon then hits Nuketown, killing all on sight except for Martin, who survives by hiding in a nuclear bunker. This ties into everything I was saying yesterday in my video. Martin can be heard in the bunker in Nuketown. We also hear the transit bus. So there's links to what people have been saying might be transit remakey kind of info in their own sort of little way over there, but we're not going to be talking about that too much in this video because there's just too much damn information otherwise. So Broken Arrow's drilling causes this nuclear explosion near Nuketown. Why are Broken Arrow relevant? Well, if you've seen the two videos that I did, one being about Mount Rushmore and this new find in Classified that has never been talked about despite the fact that it's been in the game for the last, 8 months or something. And then I did a second video about Ted and the secret that he's been keeping regarding Mount Rushmore for 7 years now. Those videos make it extremely clear that Broken Arrow are going to be key to whatever happens in DLC 3 and DLC 4. And this is only reinforcing that at the same exact time that all this other stuff is going on that is relevant to this new teaser that we have for DLC 3, Broken Arrow are also blowing up an entire nuclear bomb near Nuketown, the map that I keep saying is probably going to be what the DLC 3 map actually is. And we now have a logo for them. Isn't that a bit reminiscent of Der Eisen when in the build up to that map, we got that crest, the dragon's head, as the crest of the castle? That was one of the few times where we sort of saw a new logo like that introduced as a real theme of a map that could be plastered all over the walls. That's exactly what's going to happen here, no doubt, in my mind at least, with the Broken Arrow logo that was also shown for the first time in those two videos that I mentioned. So this pancake stack isn't just one pancake connected to another pancake connected to another. Every pancake is touching every other pancake at this point. And so, let's bring it back to the original teaser. We have this weapon that is being shown next to a hand and the Chronorium. Where else have we seen the Chronorium? Oh wait, it's in Der Eisen. It's literally on a desk. I think that a suggestion that a lot of you guys made on yesterday's video was actually really good too, that what it looks like is happening on the right side of that page is that text is actually being removed. So you can imagine that the full page would be full of text and that from top to bottom, paragraph by paragraph, line by line, the future is being erased and left blank or rewritten in some way. And what I said in yesterday's video and what I sort of stand by today is that that is most likely because of what happens on the previous page with Richtofen stepping into the dark mechanism. That is very much a final moment, a fixed point in history, and it's going to be a catalyst for whatever the hell comes next, no doubt. Is the hand going to end up being Richtofen's hand? Is it the crew failing in their mission? Is it related to Primus will fail, Ultimus will prevail? Hard to say right now, but all of the other things that I've mentioned in this video, all the links between that great war that we're going to be going towards and fighting, except with Monty as the antagonist, rather than the Apothicons as happened in ITB and the 63 universes, all that stuff is coming in DLC 4, and man, I hope I've done a good job explaining all this because it's really hard to find a way to link all these threads together in a way that is actually understandable for you guys, but Treyarch really do seem at this point to be playing with such a wide variety of ideas that they've been building us up with for a long time, and it's extremely exciting, really, really exciting, because there are other things that they haven't even touched on in the slightest in here that are still complete mysteries that they could absolutely, if they wanted to, end up doing the same thing as they've been doing here with in DLC 4. People like Peter, people like Sally, the question about Nikolai's soul, all of these things are really ripe for DLC 4 coverage, but right now, dare I say it, we've sort of got enough on our plate with DLC 3, and so it might be a bit too much if they started to try and cram those things in. I wouldn't be mad if they did it. I wouldn't be mad at all, but it's really heartwarming that the story is in such a good place right now. The just good vibes that I get saying out loud that the DLC 3 map that we are getting in 2 weeks' time was directly teased on February 2nd, 2016 when Der Eisendrache came out are just great. That is a feels good moment, and I can't wait to bring you guys with me on the journey trying to understand the rest of all this stuff in the next couple days and weeks as we head towards DLC 3 and then the end of the Aether Story. So what the hell does this all mean, goddammit? These are all great links, but where's it all going? Well, a very early DLC 3 prediction from me would be that we're gonna go to NUKETOWN before, not after, but before the events of NUKETOWN Zombies, and we will interface with Broken Arrow somehow at their facility, as well as the actual NUKETOWN town itself that we've been used to from it being made a billion different times in all the Treyarch games over the years. I think that Broken Arrow is going to be the focus here, because of the fact that Rushmore, and also just the actions of Broken Arrow with the Elemental Shard and the burning down of the facility to prevent their own implication in various outbreaks, those things are going to be what we'll be interfacing with most strongly in the Easter egg, I'd imagine. I wouldn't be surprised if the former CDC Assistant Director George Barkley becomes important somehow at some point. They like bringing old characters back like that, so there's a little bit of a Hail Mary from me. Maybe George Barkley will return. And I also think that there's a lot of opportunity here for them to play with ideas around Pablo and also around Arthur, both of which are characters that we really, really desperately want more info about in the story right now. So there's a lot of cool kind of playing cards that Treyarch have in their hand here. The real juicy stuff is going to come in the next 2 weeks though, as Treyarch gives us more and more info about this next map. And so this video is going to be really important as a bedrock, a foundation for understanding all the things that are going to be coming very soon. I'll no doubt keep referring people back to this video just to get them up to speed, because otherwise you risk getting left behind in the story dust. Like, there's just so much going on right now. It's actually nuts, and I love it. So, with all that said, guys, you won't get coverage like this about the zombie storyline anywhere else on YouTube, so make sure you're subscribed, turn on notifications, watch the video all over again, throw a party for your friends because Zombies is back apparently. It's good timing because things are looking pretty good right now, and I'm just excited to be able to say that again. So thanks for watching, guys. Obviously drop likes on the video if you've enjoyed. If you want more videos like this, then show the video some love, all that good stuff. And I'll hopefully see you very soon. On screen right now are 2 places where I could see you. One of those videos is going to be my transit playthrough that I did with Noah J, JC, and Chopper. Another one of those is going to be a link to that TED video that I made, and also the Mount Rushmore one too, so you can get a load of info about those 2 things there. And then we'll have a mystery video in the corner as well for you to click on if you don't want to watch any of those 3, or if you've already seen them, alright? Thanks guys, see you soon, bye for now.